Hi, I'm going to show you quickly how to set up a local installation of WordPress on your home computer so you can test out new themes and plugins. So here I am at the website called Bitnami.com, and they basically create a bunch of packages for different applications, and they've got this great way of installing WordPress. And so I'm going to click on the WordPress icon. Okay, so what's going to happen is that the Bitnami installer is going to install everything that you need in order to run WordPress on your local machine or your home computer. You look over here on the right, you can see a couple of options. You can demo this in the browser. You can actually deploy it. That would be useful if you want to build out stuff, but we're interested in down here where it says local install, and I'm running a Mac, and so you see they've got the two Mac options. But if you are running Windows, you can go ahead and click on one of those as well. So normally what I would do is I would select one of these, and it would download an installation software, but I've already done that. The next tab that I've got open is the WordPress.org, and I've got a page for the theme unit test. And if you actually search for theme unit test, it will be the first thing that comes up. And what's useful about the theme unit test is what it will do is that it will install a bunch of content that will give you an idea of every possible scenario for your website. You can see over here the different pages. This is basically what WordPress requires you to, or maybe not requires, but recommends you to test your theme out if you're a developer. And but it's helpful for you as far as seeing what a new theme or template will look like. Okay, so I've downloaded both of these files. This is actually a file. It will download as a text file. I've already got it downloaded, so I'm going to run the installer right now. And while I'm installing, I'll try to explain a little bit more what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to double click this, and it's going to show me a warning. Yes. And okay, it's still hopping around, this thing takes a little bit of time. I believe that the installation program is actually written in Java, so it probably will look the same if you're running it on a Windows machine. Alright, so now it's starting to boot up. Okay, so we'll pick English as the installation language, and you can pick whatever you want, but we're going to go with English right now. Alright, so the first thing I'll ask you is it'll say welcome to the Bitnami WordPress Stack Setup Wizard. I'll click next. And it's going to install 3 components. Varnish is basically just for speeding things up a bit. It's optional, but there's no point in getting rid of it. You've got the WordPress installation, which you have to install. And then you have the optional PHP MyAdmin, which I recommend leaving in there because what that does is that allows you to take a look at the database, kind of get you a little bit more familiar with it. You can just leave these alone. If any of this worries you, just leave it alone and hit the next button. That's the one nice thing about the Bitnami installer. It will pretty much install everything correctly out of the box without you having to really worry with too much trouble. Okay, then it's going to ask you to select a folder. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as is. Okay, this is where you want to pay attention. It's going to ask for your real name. That doesn't really matter. Email address doesn't matter either. But the login does matter. And so in this case, just so that I remember, I'm going to type in admin. And then for the password, something short and memorable that I would never use on a live site. The one thing you can't get away with is you can't put admin in twice. It won't let you do that with the Bitnami installer. Click next. And then put in a blog name. I like to put in WordPress testing just so that it's visually very easy to tell that this is not a live site. Okay, hit next. Then you can set up email configuration, but you don't need to. This isn't really necessary, so hit next. Then it asks about deploying WordPress to the cloud. Uncheck this because this would be handy if you wanted to take a local instance of WordPress and actually launch it, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, then it said setup is now ready to begin. Okay, and now it goes through the installation process. And this takes about 5 minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll pick it back up when the installation is finished. Okay, I'm back now, and first thing it's asking is, do I want the application to accept incoming network connections? Yes, I do. Let me go back to the installer. So the installation process is almost done, but yeah, about 3 to 5 minutes probably passed. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not terrible. And it looks like it wanted that connection in order to perhaps open up some themes. Okay, so now it's creating the uninstaller. Okay, now it's done. And so just go ahead and click the finish button. All right. And so in your browser, what you should see is up here 127.0.0.1 depending on how you have it installed. But basically, so what this is doing is that it is running WordPress on your own computer and making your computer kind of mimic a server. It should not be accessible to the outside world. We wouldn't want it to be like that. But it allows you to run WordPress on your home computer and try things out. So let's go ahead and access the site. And here we are. We've got WordPress installed, and it looks pretty lousy. You know, there's not a whole lot here. But that's all right. Let's take care of that. That's why we wanted to download that theme unit test information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into WordPress by clicking the login button, and hopefully I've still got my information that I remembered. And no, I'm not going to save it for this. Okay, so now we are logged into the WordPress dashboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Tools and select Import. And let's go down, and I'm going to install the WordPress importer. As you can see here, there's a bunch of other options. So we'll run the WordPress importer. We're going to choose the file that I downloaded from the theme unit test data. The theme unit test page. And all this is just a text file that has a bunch of XML. That's the my previous saved movie. Okay, so there's the text file, and I'm going to click Upload File and Import. And so what this is going to do is it's going to import a bunch of dummy test data that's used for testing purposes. And with this assigning authors, I'm just going to leave this alone. What it will do is it will create these authors on your local instance. The one thing I do want to do is I want to click Download and Import File Attachments. What that will do is that will grab the any images that are included with this data and actually import them into WordPress. It's handy because then you'll actually be able to see how the media section works as well. So click Submit, and that will probably take about a minute or two because of the attachments. And like I said, it's handy to have that in because then you're able to see what the different posts and pages look like with feature images or thumbnails and stuff. Like you'll see a lot of different variations. They've got galleries and all sorts of things, and so it allows you to basically just see that. And when this is happening, I just recommend you be patient, stay on the page, don't try to go off the page. I have had bad things happen whenever I got impatient and navigated somewhere else. Okay, so now that is done. So let's go back to the home page of our local site, and now we can see that it's brought in a bunch of new stuff. Look at all these archives. There's just tons and tons of archives. There's tons of categories. You can see right here, here is a post that's basically just testing out each of the different headings, block quotes. You've got even cables in here. And if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see more. You're going to see image alignment tests and so forth. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's try installing a couple of themes. I'm just going to install a couple of simple ones. Go to Add New. So let's see here. I usually don't like any of the featured themes. Yeah, it depends. They don't look so great today. let's try finding, how about this, spacious. So if you have tried previewing a theme, you can preview it right from here. But what it will usually do is that it will import, or it will use some data. It will use basically the same, I think it's same 5 or 6 posts. They always will show this kind of information. And notice how it does not look anything like the thumbnail, and that's just something to keep in mind. I think I messed something up by moving it. Here we go. For my good friends at Site Origin, I'll test out their theme. So if you click the live preview button on their site, you'll see that kind of have the same thing. I'm going to click save and activate. Okay, so here's one thing that you can see right away is that this theme is recommending the installation of a bunch of plugins. So perhaps this is not the best choice to make. Let's try this one. Okay, here we go. All right, so here you've got a theme that it's just showing a couple of different types of posts. But if you want to see more, you can install it. And then we can activate it. Oop, that's not what we want to do. So once we've activated this this theme, we can then play around with how things are set up. So you see how it's imported the archives, but there's all this weird stuff. It's like, well, where is this menu coming from, and where is this thing coming from? Well, that's what's nice about having this site. Instead of having to risk messing with your live site, you're able to fiddle around with a site right here. So here we see a couple of different options. We've got a homepage setup, and so I can change this right here. You know, I'm the fancy theme, and you see how things are changing. And what's nice is that you can do this. It doesn't clog up your current site or risk screwing anything up, and you can basically install anything you want. The other thing you can do is that you can install plugins as well and try them out without messing up your site. For example, suppose you want to find an event calendar plugin. So let's search for event calendar. And you've got a lot of choices here, but which one do you want to try? Well, what's nice about this is that I can install a bunch of these right now. I'll pick this one because it's got 2 stars. It must be pretty bad. No offense. Install that one. Okay. So now that I've installed all of those, oh, it's probably telling me to, it's probably still installing one of these. Yeah, this is where I need to be patient. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I've installed all these different event calendar or ticketing plugins. Well, the thing is that I don't want to activate them all at once. But what's nice about this is that I can activate them one at a time. So I can activate like this one and then try it out. And if I like it, I can make a note about it. If I don't like it, then I can just throw it away. And if you ever end up with the site just becoming, becoming to the point where you can't do anything, you've hosed it. Well, guess what? You can uninstall this copy of WordPress, and it will not harm anything at all. I want to find out though while we're here. Let's see if there is a plugin for resetting WordPress. I've always wondered about that. Like there's like some sort of yeah, here we go. Reset the WordPress database to default installation. Did not. Okay, so it looks like somebody else has thought about this. So this might be something you might want to look into is downloading. Here, let's try this one because this one has, let's try the WordPress reset since it has 43 ratings and got a good number of stars. Let's see how this would work. Okay. Sometimes with these plugins, you'll install them and you'll be hunting and pecking like where on earth did everything go. It looks like for the WordPress reset, it's under Tools. Okay. So this really this one really will reset it. It will let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna try this. This action is not reversible. Here we go. I'm blowing away my WordPress installation. Okay, now let's go back to the site. Let's see what happens. Look at that. Went back to what it was before. Okay. Well, that's great. We basically discovered a handy plugin. Now look at this. It still kept the it still kept all of the plugins that I installed there, but the thing is they're not activated. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with installing a million plugins. I mean, if you want to, you just don't want to have them activated all at once because they can be conflicting. Well, that's kind of handy. Handy plugin to remember. So it's WordPress Reset. So if you ever get to the point where you want to just start over, you can go ahead and hit that. Now the one thing that did happen is notice it got rid of all the theme unit testing that we had. So that's all gone. So that will have to get re-imported. Anyway, that's it. There's more I could ramble about, but I just wanted to show you quickly how to do this. This is the way you can install WordPress on your local machine. It's something that pretty much anybody can do. You don't have to be a web developer to figure this out. And I hope this video helps. And if you have any questions, you can visit aarontweeten.com. Shoot me an email and whatever. And hope this helps. Thanks.